Hello friends, welcome to session 21 of SOA Suite Administration. In this session, we are going to cover a very critical topic, which is SOA purging. So what we have learned so far about the SOA is it is an integration hub which integrate the source system with the target system for transfer of the data. Okay, along with the transfer, it does the transformation of the data as well. Okay, according to the source and the targets. Right. So now this SOA is very heavily dependent on the database. Okay, because along with the metadata of the SOA application, uh, the flow and instance data of each and every transaction which is flowing through the SOA is stored in the database. Okay, this is specifically you can say about the audit purpose as well. Okay, and for to track the end-to-end journey of the transactions, or which we say as a flow and the instances. Okay, so I will give you some brief on the flow and instances as well. But before that, I would like to highlight the importance of database because, as I said, because every transaction and every flow ID and every instance specific data is getting stored in the database, and and you can consider that in a SOA, you have n number of sources, n number of targets. They are interacting with each other, sharing the data, and then along with that, the every data is getting stored in the database tables, right? So the size is a very important consideration in the SOA, the size of the database. Okay, so for that you have to schedule a regular purging activity to purge the flow and instances data, old instances data. Okay, and depend on the policy of your organization for how long they would like to retain the data for the audit purpose. Okay, we enable the purging in the SOA. So for purging, we have two options, whether you can schedule it from the graphical user interface, or you can say from the EM console or Fusion Middleware control console, or there are the provided the scripts as well by the Oracle, which bundled with the SOA suite. Okay, you can use that purging script as well, depend on the kind of a requirement you have. Okay, so now if we talk about the instances and flow ID. Okay, so if you are not clear on that, what is flow ID and what is instances? So let me give you a small example of that one. For example, if you are on some e-commerce website and you are going to purchase some product from the e-commerce website, okay, so what are the certain transactions, or you can say the processing that has happened in the background when you book a order online from the e-commerce portal. Okay, there would be a payment processing system, okay, which process the payment of the order, and then there would be inventory management system where your inventory need to be updated for whatever the product that you have bought, and then you will have a order confirmation that the customer receives, and in parallel there could be a fraud check system as well in the back end of the e-commerce website, okay, organization. And then you have a shipping and delivery system. Then you have a customer notification system when a customer get the notification after booking, right? And then you have an order and tracking system. You have a logistic system, and then you have a customer support as well, which need to be updated with the transaction that has been done by you. And then there could be a return and refund processing or the policy. Okay, maybe you have booked the order and after that you are going to cancel the order due to any reasons, and then you are looking for a refund. So whenever we book one of the order, okay, then in the back end, multiple things executed with respect to a particular transaction. Okay, so this is one of the example where you are going to book a particular order or from the e-commerce website. Now you can consider that around the world you have a huge or giant e-commerce website owner organizations are there where the n number of users are booking a lot of orders on the daily basis, right? There are a number of transactions getting processed per second basis, and then for each and every order, there are a lot of information are getting generated with respect to each and every subsystem, which we have seen on the screen, right? And this every information is getting stored in the system for some certain reasons. The first thing is that you have to ensure that one of the transaction that has been initiated by the user, it has been reached to the complete end-to-end journey from the payment processing till the return and refund and processing, right? And then in between, you have a lot of other journeys as well, right? And apart from that, you would like to have a certain kind of auditing where you would like to track the different kind of stages of the particular order. Like you would like to track the inventory management system, you would like to track the different order confirmations, you would like to track the fraud check, or you would like to go for checking the shipping and delivery, you would like to go for the customer notification if it has been sent or not, how many notifications have been sent for the day, your order tracking. So that means you can do the auditing of the different transactions at each and every level. Okay, and depend on your requirement, this information gets stored in a database, which is used by the organization for the auditing purpose, right? And after booking the order, there could be a possibility that one of the stages may get failed in between. For example, the payment processing has been done successfully, inventory management has been done successfully, but the customer has not received the order confirmation because there could be a problem with your order confirmation application or the third party application which you are using for the order confirmation. There could be a problem with that application at that particular moment. So that order confirmation may get delayed. Okay, but you will get an option to retry it from the SOA console. Okay, that means if you have a particular order journey and inside that order journey you have a multiple stages, then you have an option to retry. Okay, that each and every stage, if the order gets stuck at a particular stage. Okay, so this complete information is get stored in the database, okay, which you can visible from the EM console. And if any of the particular order or instance or the stage is get stuck, okay, you can retry it from the EM console and then it can be processed later time once your backend system is up and running, right? So now you can see that there is some numbering system in front of each and every subsystem: 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 in the green, right? What exactly it is? Okay, so let me tell you now. So whenever this kind of a transaction initiated, okay, for each and every order journey, there is a flow ID is generated. For example, you can see that for this particular order booking, where suppose you have booked some order from the e-commerce website, so there is a flow ID is generated with the number 3245. Inside that one, you will have a multiple different instances with the instance IDs. Okay, and that will be assigned to each and every stage of your transaction. So here in this particular order booking transaction, you have a 9 instances. Okay, so there could be 9 different instance IDs will be generated for each and every stage. Okay, so this is the concept of the flow ID and the instances in the SOA. Okay, and this complete information is get stored in the database. That means each and every transaction information is getting stored in the database, right? As I said, this could be used for the auditing purpose and for a few more reporting or purpose as well. Okay, and then for how long you are going to retain this in database, it completely depend on your organization policies. Okay, but you have to make sure you have to going for the purging of the database, because if you're not going to purge this kind of a content, you're not going to purge your old data or old flow ID or old instances, okay, then your database set will be huge and then it will impact the performance of SOA. Okay, so this is one of the critical activity in the SOA which you have to ensure that it is running up perfectly without any problems. Okay, so now this is a screenshot that we have discussed in the logging session as well. We have a different kind of a logs in the SOA, and when it's specifically when we talk about the audit logs, okay, which is stored in the database, right? So we have a different kind of a audit labels that we can enable depend on our requirement. Okay, so we have 3 level of audit level that we have discussed in that session. That we have a production mode of audit level, we have development mode, and there could be a off as well. Okay, so in a nutshell, we have a what kind of a different information that we stored is in the database is with its business flow instances, audit events, and payload information. Okay, so payload is nothing; it is the data which is getting flowing from one system to the system. Okay, that data is called the payload. Okay, so if you make it off, okay, then tracking of business flow instances, audit event, and period information is not there. That means if you are going to off the auditing option, okay, then nothing will be registered in the database. Okay, but you hardly see this option to be enabled for any of the client. Okay, so other option is production. So if you are going to enable the production mode of logging, okay, which is specifically recommended for your live or production environment, then business flow instances along with the audit events information will be stored in the database, but payload specific information will not store. That means the transaction that is executing in your database, with respect to that transaction, whatever the data is there, that data will not get stored in your database. But if you are going with the development mode of the audit level, then your complete end-to-end business flow instances, corresponding instances of a particular flow ID, and then the audit events and the payload specific entries data will also be get stored in the database. Okay, so if you are going to enable your database SOA in the development mode of audit logs, okay, then the growth of data will be very high. Okay, the generation of data will be very huge. Okay, so recommended approach is to you go for the production mode in your live environment, and for other environments, lower environment, you can go for the development environment purpose. But I have seen for many clients, the development mode of audit data is enabled in the production as well, because the client need the payload specific data as well for certain reasons. Okay, but they have to ensure that their purging service is up and running properly. Okay, and the policy could be there, they could retain the data for last 1 month or 1 week or 2 weeks. Okay, or could be 3 months as well. But for that, you make sure that what is the current size of data, database, what is the current size of your data, and then how it is performing, or what is the performance aspects of your data. Okay, and if it is working accordingly or not. Okay, and according to that, you have to define your purging policy, right? So this we have discussed in the logging sessions as well. Now, when we create the SOA repository, okay, that means during the installation, we have seen that before installing the SOA suite, we have created the few certain schemas in the database, right, where the SOA store all of the data, right, and that data, that database schemas we have created using the repository creation utility. Okay, so when we create the schemas using the repository creation utility, okay, at that time you have to ensure that for whatever the whoever the client that you are going to create, install the SOA environment, what is the expected size or the growth of data for that particular client, because based on that we have to select that a profile option, okay, for the SOA. Okay, so we have a three profile options when we create the schemas in the database for the SOA. These are small, medium, and large. Okay, so there is a huge difference between small, medium, and then large. So if there is a certain range of data there, and the size of the data that is expected to be there for small, medium, and large, that I will show in the next screen. So, okay, so if you enter small or medium as a database profile, okay, the RCU perform no special actions when the schema is created. The small and medium options should be entered for informational purpose only. Okay, so that means most of the time, for most of the client, you will see the database profile as small or medium. Okay, uh, there could be chance that you may, for certain reasons, for some of the clients, you will see the large profile as well for the SOA. Okay, but large profile is specifically when the expected data size is very huge. Okay, otherwise, for more than 80 or 90% of a client, the small and medium profile would be sufficient. Okay, but yes, if you have a large enough data, okay, then you can go for the large profile as well. So we get three options when we create the schemas. And the difference between all these profiles, when you go for a large profile in comparison with the small and medium, then if you select the large profile, then it create or it use the partitioning feature of the database. Okay, this partitioning feature is a advanced feature of the database, where instead of storing the data in a particular single table, it gets stored in the different partitions in the database. Okay, this is advanced level. And if you are creating a database profile in the large, using the large profile, okay, then that means you are going to use the partitioning. Okay, that means your repository creation utility will automatically does the partition when it create the different schemas for the SOA, and it store the data in the partitioning. So when you use a large profile, that means you have a partitioning database. Okay, partitioning database in the SOA, and for that the strategy for purging would be bit different. Okay, that is also a feature of the purging activity. Okay, if you are going, if you have a small or medium profile, that means if you are not going to use, or you are not using the large profile, that means you are not using the partition features, then you have a different set of actions for performing for the purging. But if you are using the large profile, that means when you are using the partitioning in your database, then you have a certain different set of instructions for initiating the purging. Okay, and before making the purging policy, make sure if using partition feature or not. Okay, so that means, as I said, if you're going to configure the purging, you have to make sure that what is the profile that your database is using, and if your partitioning is used or not. Okay, so there is a certain commands as well there which you can run, and then you can check whether your SOA database has been configured using partitioning or not, and that I'm going to share with you. Okay, so whatever the command that I'm going to show you on this particular slide, this is the completely I have given in a text pad, notepad as well, which you can download from the resource section as well, the complete information. Okay, so this is how we define the profiles, whether we need the profile, small profile, we need the medium profile, or we need the large profile. So this is the certain standard that has been given by the Oracle. Okay, so small development installation with that is with more than 1000K rows in the database, then you go for the small profile. But if you are suspecting that your database size will be that is less than 10 GB of the data per day and retain less than 500 GB of data, that means the total data that you are going to retain in the database would be 500 GB, and per day growth will be less than 10. Okay, in that case you can uh, uh, use a medium profile. And okay, and then for the purging of the small and medium profile, either you can configure from the console using the auto purge option from the em console, or you can use the procedures, database procedures that have been provided by the Oracle, which is called the loop purge script and loop purge parallel purge. So we have two kind of a script provided by the Oracle for the purging. One is called the loop purge, and second is called the loop purge parallel purge. Okay, so sometimes this completely loop purge parallel purge also called as a simple parallel purge. Okay, that but in a nutshell we have a two kind of a purging options are available. That means you have a two kind of a procedures are available in the Oracle database, which you can use for purging the database when you are using the medium and the small profile. But if you are using a large profile, okay, that means your per day data that is getting generated is more than 10 GB. Okay, and then the total size is more than 500 GB, then you can use for the large profile. That means you can use the partitioning option feature of the database. And for that, when you are going to use the procedure, Oracle PLSQL procedure for the purging, then you have to enable certain parameters so that your partition tables can also be purged. So if you have a small profile, then you can go for the auto purge option, which is you can enable from the em console, or you can use the loop purge script as well. If you have a medium profile, then you can enable the auto purge option from the em console, or you can use the loop parallel purge option. Okay, and if you have a large installation, large profile, then you can use all of the combinations, like you can use the auto purge, you can use the loop purge, or you can say the loop parallel purge, and along with that the partitioning option by enabling certain kind of parameters that I am going to explain you. Okay, so now when we talk about the purging of the instances, okay, so as we seen in the previous slides, okay, there would be a journey of each and every product order, and then there could be different stages of that order. Okay, and as I said, there could be chances that there certain order, some of the order or some of the instances has been processed, but some of the instances get stuck at somewhere, which you can retry and then you can process later as well. Okay, then each and every instance has a state. Okay, so if it is executed successfully, then it will be the status will be completed successfully. And if it is there is a certain fault in the instance, then it will be get stored with the status of faulted. If it is terminated by the user, it could you can also terminate the instance from the console. If it is terminated by the user, the status would be different. And if it is aborted, in between the status will get with the aborted. And if it is something that it gets stuck due to certain different reasons, okay, that means the instance tracking is disabled, the status could be unknown. Apart from that, the instances could be in the running status. That means the order is currently in process. Okay, and then it could be in status could be the pending recovery. That means the instance get failed at a particular moment. There could be reason that the backend service is not available at that time, which you can retry later. That means you can recover them. Okay, so specifically when we talk about the purging, then you are purging can purge all of the instances from the database. Those are in the state of completed successfully, faulted, terminated by user, aborted, or in the unknown state. Any of the instance which is in the running state or maybe in the recovery state will not get purged. Running instance, that means it is the current running order, and the pending recovery means that the order get failed, but you still have the option which you can retry and your order may get success, right? So these two instances data will not get purged. Apart from that, other five instances status data will get purged with the help of purge scripts. Okay, that means the purge script do not delete instances that are in flight or can be recovered. In flight in means that means the current transaction which is going on in the system, or recovered instances, that means those may get failed due to certain reasons, but you still have option to recover it from the console. So these two state of the instances will not get purged from the database using this purging option. Okay. Now, as I said, if you would like to identify the whether your database is using the partitioning or not, because it could be possible that the environment has been configured by the different infra team, or maybe it has been configured long back, but you're not sure what is the exact profile. So what you can do, you can run this command that I have given on the screen. Okay. The first one is a simple query. which you can run and check the status. And second is a query which will give you the partitioning option, whether your database is in partitioning state or not. Okay, and along with that, it will give you the complete information of the number of purgeable flow instances you are going to purge. Okay, and there is a very important table in the SOA 12c, which is called SCA flow instance. This SCA underscore flow underscore instance store the complete data of the instances that is flowing from your SOA. Okay, so we run the query on this particular table. Okay, it will give you the count of the number of purgeable instances. That means the number of instances that you can purge. Okay, and along with that, it will give you the information whether your database has been created using the partitioning option or not. Okay, so these are the two command. Okay, and I have given this in the notepad as well. Okay, this is the notepad that you can download from the resource section. So this is the first query that you can run in the database, right? And this is the second query that you can run in the database. Okay, and so let me first show you this one. Okay, so how it works. Okay, so this is okay. So let me log into my database. Okay, so now because this is a SOA schema, right? So I have to log into my SOA schema, right? So that means I have to log into my SOA schema. That means let me log in with the prefix what we have given SOA 12c when we have created the repository creation utility for schemas, right? And the name of schema is SOA infra, right? This was the name. And then let me see what was the password I have given, Weblogic 123. My database is running on the local host, right? So let me give localhost and the port is 1521, and then my service name is ORCL PDB. Okay. So now you can see that we have logged into the SOA infra schema, right? So here we can run this command. Okay. And we see the output of this command. What is the output of this one? So let me copy it and then let me paste it here. Okay. Okay. Now you can see that no row selected. That means my database has not been created or it is not using the partitioning option. That means we should not go with the second option of the purging, which is where you have an option to go for the purging using the partitioning options. Okay, so that means it is configured either small or medium, and for that we have a generic a script or the standard option for enable the purging. Okay, and apart from that, as I said, you have one more SQL. It is not an SQL, it is a Oracle SQL procedure. Okay, and let me copy and let me execute this procedure here as well. Okay, let me copy it again, copy. Okay, and now you can see that Scarflow instance is not partitioned. Okay, it is showing that the partitioning is not in use. That means you are not using the large profile. And as of now, what it is saying, total purgeable flow instance 0, because I don't have any purgeable instances as of now in my database. Right, it is a demo database, so it is showing 0. Okay, so in your environment, it will give you a complete the count of the instances that are eligible for the purging. Okay, so these are the two important scripts, or you can say the SQL and the procedure that you can run. Okay, to check the purgeable instances in your database and whether your database has been partitioned or not. So that means if you create a SOA infra schema with a large database profile, then you can check it with this one. Component instance state will no longer be stored in an individual table. That means in 11G there were the structure of the tables were completely different, and now in 12C it is completely different. Okay, so that means the data of the instances are now not stored in the individual table like it was in 11G, but now in 12C the complete information it gets stored in the Scarflow instance table. Okay, and now the important point, if suppose you are using the large profile, that means you are using the partitioning option and you would like to go for the purging of the partitioning database. So if you decide to run the SOA purging with the purge script either manually by running the stored procedure or by using the auto purge function, which can be configured in EM console, that means uh, as I said, we have two options. Either we can enable it from the EM console or we can run the purging using the script or using the PL script procedure as well. So whatever you have decided, you need to enable the purge partition component option as true. By default, this is false. Okay, but if you are going to enable the purging for the partition database, make sure this particular option is enabled. Okay, otherwise your purging will work, but what will happen that it will not purge the partitioning database, or it will not purge the partitioning tables. Okay, so this is one of the important parameter you have to take care. Okay, so now let me quickly show you how we can enable the purging from the console, EM console, and how you can do it from the using the PL scale procedures. What are the different options that we have to use when we do the configurations? Okay,